What's going on, everybody? This is Neadom with Kotori Technologies. Today we're going to go over 5 hacks for Office 365 to help you and your business. We're going to take a look at branding and theming Office 365, two-factor authentication. We're also going to take a look at looking at Microsoft Teams and SharePoint for your business. And we're going to go and look at how to configure some of these settings for you today. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at how to brand Office 365. So we're going to come in here and log in. I set up a Ask Neadom email account. Just set a real trial on Microsoft, microsoft.com, and I set this up. Ask Neadom at I got to do .com on Microsoft.com. There you go. Anyways, I set this up just as a trial in Office 365. I'm not gonna ask it to keep me signed in. Anyways, when you get logged in 365, it brings you to the new this kind of dashboard that they've got. We're going to go ahead and click on the admin portal. And the admin portal is actually going to give us some options here. We're going to take a look at more options down here at the bottom, show all. And then from here, we're going to take a look at settings. I've got to look around my microphone here for a second, so I apologize. Okay, so we're going to look at organizational profile. You can get to it here, or you can actually search here for organization, O-R-G-A-N, organizational profile settings here, and that'll take you to it. When we're here on this page, what we want to take a look at, manage custom themes for your organization. And this is how we're going to change this up here. And this is what we're going to really kind of change, the look of how Office 365 looks at the top menu. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to add our logo. So we've got our Ask Neadom logo. We're going to take, I've got this kind of put into here. Ask Neadom logo. We're going to say OK. We're going to put in a URL. So we'll go to youtube.com / this is my YouTube channel. I'll grab that, make sure, yep. All right, there's my YouTube channel. And then we're going to put in the actual background of it. And then I'm going to grab the hex color for that red that's in my logo. I know the hex color here. So I'm going to go in here and paste that. And you'll see that color change to red. And that changes this kind of highlight accent color here. I'll scroll down. One last thing, I want to check this box. I don't want anybody in my organization to be able to change these settings. I want the brand to be the same across the whole organization. Once I do that, I'll hit save, and then bam, I've got the new look of Office 365 and what it looks like. So it's kind of branded for my business. And you can make this whatever you want. I mean, it's your business, it's your organization. So brand this however you want to do that. So last thing we want to kind of take a look at here is under this. Under your theme, you can do the custom theme here. You've got these other settings. You can also make it so that the username shows up on there all the time. And so when I close this out and refresh this here, take a look at that. You can see that instead of just NT, it shows up as Neadom Tucker. And so maybe you want to do that so you know what user account you're logged into. But that really kind of covers. And notice. Look at the theme, it's actually kind of gone away for a second. So let's refresh the screen one more time and see if we get our theme back. We don't actually. Let's go back into home and find out where our theme went. Sometimes Microsoft loves to mess with us here with these settings, and you don't quite get them as you want. So let's go here, we'll edit. Nope, those are still there. So this is stupid. Oh, look, it's back. Now it's back. See, it's red. Now if I go to Outlook, yes, I'll go here and I got to select my time zone. I'm Eastern, so we'll go to Eastern time zone. We're -4 right now. Actually -5. Sorry. Save, and my theme should populate in Outlook as well. Yep, there's the red and all the information there. So again, it stayed. Sometimes Microsoft gets kind of confused about what they're doing. If I come back here and I go back to my admin panel, one of the last things that you can do inside of Office 365 is adjust what you see up here. See how it just has NT? I want actually to show my name. And so we're going to do that for the whole organization. And to do that, I'll click Edit. And then at the very bottom here, I'll say username. Show user's full name on the top navigation bar when they're signed in. and then I'll just click and turn that on, and I'll hit save and close. Now it's not going to show here. Once I refresh my browser here, it'll actually show my name, Neadom Tucker, in there as well. You can see it is right there. And again, it just lets me see who I'm logged in as. Again, I know who I am, but you know, it gives a little more different look. So anyways, next thing we're going to take a look at is two-factor authentication. So to get to two-factor authentication, what we're going to want to do is we're actually want to go into the admin console one more time, all right? And then once we're in the admin console, we're going to want to go to Show All, and then scroll down to Azure Active Directory. Now, this is when Office 365 creates user accounts. They're created in Azure as well. If you're not familiar with Azure, you know, this is Microsoft's cloud platform. But when we take a look here at Azure Active Directory, if we click on Users, right, we can see my single user is here. I can click on him, get the check mark, and then I'm going to click on multi-factor authentication. And we're going to open up multi-factor authentication, and you can see for this user it is currently disabled. So what do? Select the user, right? I click enable, right? Enable multi-factor authentication. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to close this out. Okay, so now MFA is enabled on the system. Now what do? Right? So now if I click back on Neadom Tucker here and try to log in as Neadom Tucker, we're going to do this in another private browser on Firefox, and so we'll say I need to grab my password again really quick and copy it. So we'll go to login.microsoftonline.com, and then we'll put in ask Neadom at askneadom.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, we'll put in my password, super secret password, paste, and say sign in. Okay, so now this is right here. This is right here is telling me your organization needs more information to keep your account secure, right? So this is like, oh, what do I need to do? Oh, well, I enable multi-factor authentication, so I need to take a look at that. So let's take a look at next. Now it's going to give us a couple of options. How we want to contact you. We want to authenticate by phone. This is typically by text message or something like that. I don't really suggest using text messages. We really like to see our clients use multi-factor authentication apps, something like you can use like Google Authenticator. Microsoft's got their own application. I use Authy because it keeps the keys in the cloud as well. And I'm going to tell it use verification code. And then I'm going to say set up, right? And I'm going to say set up. So once I hit set up, it's going to configure the back end for the mobile app. Now it gives you this QR code. Now what I need to do is I first need to scan it into my phone. I have an app. I've got Authy up, and I'm going to click add apps. And I'm going to say scan QR code. And I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to scan the code. Now when I use Authy, it tells me that I can't use this method. So what I'm going to do is use a different one, scan app without notifications, and then it's going to let me do this because the Microsoft app actually does some notifications in there as well. So I'm going to save this one. You're going to see that it's going to ask me inside of Authy how I want to save it. I'm going to hit done. All right, and then Authy is going to present me with a couple of codes that I can use to log in. And so I'm going to say next here, and then I'm going to say next again, right? And it's going to ask me to enter the verification code from the app. And so this is a 6-digit one. Right now this is 271907. I've got 30 seconds to enter that. I'm going to hit verify. And it's going to verify my security. Okay, great. So it's got that verified. That's great. It still wants my cell phone number in here. And I'm going to put my cell phone number in here. We're going to hide that so you can't see it. And put that in there and hit next. And so it's going to then give me an app password. And now this is going to be used for when you implement two-factor authentication. The app password is used to log into applications that do not support two-factor authentication. You may have a mobile phone device, something like Touchdown or 9 may not support two-factor authentication, and you're going to want to use this password. Now, again, all this is going to change because this account's bogus moving forward, but this is here, so I'm going to copy that in my clipboard and keep it and save it in a safe place, and then I'm done. So now I'm logging in. So now I'm logged into Office 365 with my two-factor authentication. So let's test it out again. We're going to log out in this session, and we're just going to verify that this works. Again, remember I'm logged in behind here as well, but I'm testing this out. So I'm going to go to login.microsoftonline.com, and I'm going to put in my Ask Neadom and my super secret password, and paste that here. And then it's going to ask me for my code, and I'm going to put my code in. Right, I'm going to hit verify. There we go. I'm logged in. Just that simple. So that's enabling two-factor authentication. You can decide to enable this for your whole organization. I'll show you, and enforce it is the key. If I go back here to Azure Active Directory, multi-factor authentication, you get the ability to click on this user, and this one's actually enforced. You can go through and assign this to all your users in your organization to determine what the best solution is for you and them. So next we're going to take a look at Microsoft Teams. This is a competitor to Slack. If you've used Slack or anything like that, it's Microsoft's competition to Slack. Now, I really like Teams. It integrates into Office 365 very, very smoothly. We're going to take a look at how Teams can help you guys leverage some collaboration and some more improved efficiencies in your organization. So if we come and take a look here, back at our dashboard, you can see Teams is here. Again, Teams is also accessible here in the app menu here. We're going to open up Teams. And when you open up Teams for the first time, it kind of takes just a second. But it's loading Teams up. And when you get here, a lot of times you'll end up in the chat window for the first time. But what we want to really take a look at is building a team. And so we're going to pretend, Ask Neadom again. This is my other YouTube channel that we have. We're going to create a team that's going to be for pre-production. And I'm going to build a team from scratch. Now, if you've already used 365 and you have a group or another section, you can create it from an existing group. But I'm going to build a team from scratch. And this is going to actually create a team and a group for me, which is really, really great. And so we have a couple options. I could create a private team, which means I give people permissions to get in. A public team, people can join. Or an organizational wide team, which is something that everyone is automatically a part of in here. And so for this, I'm just going to create a public team. It makes it easy. You can choose to join and take a look at what I've got. And so we're going to do, I think I said pre-production. If I didn't, this is what we're going to do anyways. This is my pre-production team. And I don't know, I try to stay away from hyphens. I know I put it in there, but let's keep it pre-production. And then we'll give it a description. This is for information about pre-production work for YouTube. Right? So we've got my my item. The name of the channel, pre-production, I can put that in the description. I'm going to hit create. So in a couple seconds, it's going to create the pre-production team. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I like the nice work piece. And I can add members. Right now, I'm not going to add anybody. I'm going to skip it. But you'll add your other members in your organization. And so let's take a look at what this does. So Teams really gives us a lot of functionality inside of it. Conversations, you can do mentions. If we take a look at what we can do here, we have the whole file section. And we're going to get into SharePoint in just a little bit, but I'm going to show you how SharePoint and the files really tie in. But when you're in Teams, notice here on the left-hand side, if I go to chat and then I go to Teams, you can see the pre-production team I created. Underneath Teams, I have this channel called General. Now, this is where you can really break out the conversations about this piece here. So let's talk in pre-production. I'm going to make another channel and call it Graphics. And because we need to get graphics, so for the show, and I'm gonna say show it to everybody when they log in, and graphics for pre-production. I'm a horrible speller, guys. D-U-C-T-I-O-N. Thank you. And then hit add. So now I've got two channels. Now I've got a general channel and a graphics channel, and these two are to kind of talk about what's happening. I'm going to create one more channel and say audio, That channel, call it audio, or let's call it sound effects, or sound. Audio sounds better. AUD. I said I was a horrible speller, guys. Audio for YouTube, right? YouTube, very good. Again, add everybody to this as well and hit add. So now I've got 3 channels. I've got a general channel that we're going to just kind of use for anything. And this is by default. You can't get rid of this. This is for everybody in the organization. I've got an audio channel and a graphics channel all here in the pre-production team. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody, you know, I can be like, hey, Chris, how is the project going? Right, and then put this in here, and I can have a conversation. I can actually use @ commands. You know, right now there's no one in the organization but myself, but I can use @ commands to kind of tag them in this particular conversation. The beauty of this as well is I can add attachments, and so if I want to go, let's talk on this graphics channel, right? And I want to add that logo we added from the very beginning, right? I want to say upload from my computer, right? And let me go back in here to my Scratch drive, and then I'm going to add this logo here, the Ask Neadom logo, and that's going to upload. I'm going to also add the background image. And again, we're really not adding this for anything other than the purpose of this video. There's really no purpose to these 2 images being here, but we're just going to pretend. We're going to turn that off, and then I'm going to hit the send button. Now what you're going to see is both these logos get loaded up here for me to have a look at. But the beauty of this is, imagine 6 or 7 months from now, as the conversation has gone on and on and on, how am I going to find these individual locations? Well, it's really easy. I know I'm in the graphics location, so if I click on Files, you're going to see those two files automatically get populated in the file section. So the management of using this is really, really easy to kind of go into the files. If I had some standards on graphics, I can use the wiki. The wiki is going to allow me to create content in here regarding graphic standards. Maybe I have a branding guide, and maybe I'll call this I'll call this the branding guide. Branding guide, right? And say untitled section headers, right? I can say, you know, header stuff goes here, go here, right? And I can have that. And so again, I've got a reference now within you know this app whole system on my pre-production stage graphics. I've got the files, I've got the wiki, and so now I'm building an organizational system and building a team and giving my team the information and tools that they need to communicate. Now there's 2 parts of Teams. There's the web application, then there's the actual download itself. You can download Teams from the menu here, download the desktop app and mobile app. You can download those here. You're going to want those to do things like video conferences and voice conferences. When you have more people in your team, you're able to kind of form those calls between the individuals in your company. But you know, that really is a kind of a quick kind of summary of how to use Teams. Each team has got a calendar as well. I almost forgot about that. I can't believe that. Your team can have a calendar. And I'll show you in just a little bit when we get into SharePoint about how Teams and SharePoint kind of work together and how that data looks. But in the meantime, this really kind of covers Teams. And now we're going to take a look at Microsoft SharePoint. So Microsoft SharePoint, or SharePoint, you know, we don't really need to add Microsoft to everything because we're in 365 and that is Microsoft. But SharePoint is used as a team collaboration for the whole organization. So think of teams as individual departments within your company, but think of SharePoint as the entire organization, or maybe even sub-organizations within side of a company. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at SharePoint. So again, back at our dashboard, if we take a look at SharePoint here, open it up, and you're kind of presented. Now take a look at what we've got here. Notice we created a pre-production team inside of Teams, and it shows up here automatically for us. Our communication site, or this is our main site, and I'll show you how to get to that really easily. Instead of going here, this may not show up for you if you've never been to it. But the default site here is the URL for SharePoint for your organization is just this. For me, it's askneadom.sharepoint.com. I can go here and get rid of this all and go directly to the actual communication site. Or again, if I go from SharePoint, I'm going to close this out again and show you. If I go from SharePoint, and anything you go in, it usually shows up here in your frequent. So pre-production and communication site. If I go to communication site, this takes me to actually what we would consider SharePoint. Now, SharePoint can mean many things to a lot of people. If you're in a large enterprise, it's one thing. This is what comes in the default implementation of SharePoint. You can take a look at, we've got some tiles, some information here about customizing your own site with tiles. And then we've got some news articles. We can add a new news article. We've got events that we can add in here, different types of events, documents that are in our documentation and a document section. But again, if you take a look at the top here, I've got home, I've got documents. These are the documents I've got here. Nothing currently here. We'll say not now, previous not now. Pages. These are the individual pages, the home page that we've got in here, and other site contents of the website. And this kind of gets in the granular portion of the website that we've got. But if we go back home and take a look at this, this is really where you're going to be able to share company-wide data. And so in the past, think of your SharePoint site kind of as your company share. And when you're using documents here, you want to your permissions that you have here really need to be organizational wide. We can get really granular, but we don't want to kind of deal with permissions and documents anything further down than a few bits and pieces. And so I'm going to grab something here really quick and take a look at a couple files that we're just going to add in to here. And again, those same files that we had, those image files, I'm going to just drag them. So here they are right here. You can see them on my screen. I'm just going to drag them and highlight them, and I can just bring them and drop them right on top of here in my documents. Now, the beauty of this is that they're there. It tracks who created them. I can open the file from here and take a look at it. I don't have to download it. Oh, there's my file. I can come back here and see what I've got. I can also, in my document section, I can create new documents, and I've got the option to create a folder, a Word document, Excel document. Again, I don't want to get too much in the scope of these types of documents because it's a little bit out far of what we're trying to take a look at, but SharePoint really gives you the ability to bring together a lot of different things within your organization. So you take a look at, Teams, and that's, again, like we talked about before, it's more a department, but SharePoint really is an organizational wide piece. We can go in here, we can add calendars, we can add contacts, we can create our own custom lists, we can create our own applications inside of here. There's a feature called Power Apps that you can use. SharePoint really brings a lot of power into your business. And so if you're a small business owner out there and you're not exactly sure about the tools you're using in Office 365, give us a call at 843-553-8800, and we can help you with your Office 365 and SharePoint implementation. And we'll see you guys next time, and take care.